Today I want to talk to you about what feels like a recent DVD find but wasn't. About 3 or 4 years ago, my wife used to work in a charity shop. Amongst the donations one day were 2 folders pretty much full of DVDs. Sadly, none of the artwork that originally came with them was there. Now, the charity's policy in their shops was that unless the DVDs were complete and in their original packaging, they couldn't be sold. This meant that all the DVDs would be thrown into the bin at the end of the day. Now, rather than that happening, my wife offered to make a donation to the shop and she'd have them instead. Her manager was fine with this, so she gave a donation to the shop and she brought them home. They were put into a cupboard and that's where they've stayed ever since. Now, last week, whilst looking for something else in that cupboard, we came across the folders and decided for the first time to have a good look at them and see what was there. Now, these are the 2 folders. So as you can see, there were a lot of DVDs there. And that's what I'm going to be talking about in this video. There were 75 films, mostly from the late 1990s to the mid 2000s. There were 4 complete TV series and 24 incomplete series, also from that same time period. Now that's a lot of DVDs. There was a wide range of films and TV shows, some of which we already had, as well as some that we'd fancied getting as well. And then there were some which, to be honest, we didn't feel we had any interest in at all. Now, the great thing for me was that all the DVDs were in excellent condition. So what did I find in the folders once I started having a rummage? Here's a list of what was in this collection. Let's run through some of the highlights and the lowlights. Of the 75 films, there were 38 films I hadn't seen before. 53 are films I don't already have, which means that I have 22 of them. Of the 53 I don't have, there are only 14 that I don't have any real interest in seeing, but I'll likely give half of them a chance. Of the 28 TV series, there are 15 series that I've never watched before. I have only 3 of the series already. I do have to ask myself if I'll watch any of the part series. I'll possibly watch those that have a first series, because if I like them, I'll probably look for more. I can't see me trying any of the programs that don't have a series 1, because that's the important one that introduces the characters and the storyline. There are 8 of those, but I will make an exception in the case of Damages, which I saw the first series when it first came out. Of all the shows in the folders, there are only 5 that I have no interest in seeing at all. So, what do I make of the 2 folders? Well, let me start by saying that my wife's donation wasn't a big one, but then again they were going to be thrown away, so the money she paid was money the charity wouldn't have had and wouldn't have been getting in the first place. For that reason alone, this was a bargain. Was there anything in there that really pleased me? Oh yeah. I've finally got The Usual Suspects, a film that I loved, but one that somehow I'd never gotten around to buying. The same goes for Fight Club. I'd only bought The Bourne Identity and not the others in the series, so now I have them. In the TV selections, I was really pleased to see Pushing Daisies, which we thought was an original concept when it first came out, and it was one that we'd really enjoyed and wanted to watch again. Also, Californication was a series I enjoyed, so it'll be nice to reacquaint myself with that one. And lastly, of course, there was Extras, which was a series I really liked when that first came out. So with that in mind, there aren't really any downsides. The series and films that we have no interest in will probably end up with someone in the family who liked them. What's left will probably be offered to one of our local free cycle groups. It's a shame that none of the artwork is with them, as I think that's an important part of the package, but that's a small downside when all is said and done. Those DVDs have sat in our cupboard for ages. Finding them the other day was a little surprise as we'd forgotten totally about them. I think all in all, my wife made an inspired decision to bring them home. We've already watched a couple of episodes of Pushing Daisies and are enjoying it as much as we did the first time around. And so it's a big thumbs up from me. Feel free to leave comments down below because I really enjoy getting them. I try to read and reply to each one. However, sometimes I get so many comments I just don't have the time to fully answer. I do try to acknowledge every comment in some way, even though sometimes it may just be a short response. But be assured, I do appreciate the input, well, most of the time anyway. And if you click up there, I ask, are DVDs really that bad?